Alright, as many people might know, I like to explore Mesoamerican culture from an anthropological standpoint and a cultural standpoint. I find it very interesting. One of the things that I find most interesting about indigenous American culture, and most cultures for that matter, is food culture. The reason for this is because out of the many environmental factors that play a role in how genes are expressed, what's called the epigenome, is food. Food is very important in the way genes are expressed and very important into how civilizations develop, and then food culture plays an important role in the development of more extravagant culture. Food is life, okay? That's basically what it amounts to. But there's this dude, Bob Arnot, or something like that wrote a book called The Aztec Diet. Apparently he's some kind of news doctor or something like that. Now, what I found so funny about this was I did a previous video on the Scandinavian and gladiator diet where I mentioned at length what a pre-Columbian diet would be. Now, this dude basically bases this, he calls it an Aztec diet, I guess because it has chia seeds in it. Okay, he talks about chia seeds a couple times. Now, the funny thing is this, the Aztec diet, the Aztecs did eat chia seeds, but the Aztec diet was based, like many North American indigenous people, it was based in squash, beans, and corn. Okay, squash, beans, and corn. These are the three sisters, the three roots of the indigenous American diet for the North American Indians, okay? Now, especially agrarian Indians, which are rare, but that was the agrarian Indians thrived on squash, beans, and corn. Okay, now add to that, then you start adding to that things like tomatoes, peppers, let me think here, tomatoes, peppers, avocados, different spices, agave, and then you start adding in things like chia, spirulina. They actually grew spirulina and would take it and turn it into cakes to eat to get the strength from the algae, the blue-green algae out of it. Now, what's interesting about this is you can't just, this is the ultimate fad diet, okay? This dude talks about Greek yogurt in his Aztec smoothie, which has blueberries and chia seeds and kale and Greek yogurt. Okay, well, what's the problem with Greek yogurt? Well, the Aztec, like most indigenous American civilizations, did not domesticate dairy livestock. There was no animals that gave them dairy. They did not drink dairy, which is important because, as we know, dairy impedes the absorption of antioxidants from foods like berries and different leafy vegetables and things like that, and including tea, although the Aztec did not have tea, but they did have cocoa. So it would impede the absorption of these very powerful antioxidants that we know are geroprotective now. Now, the thing is, if eating chia seeds makes something the Aztec diet, well, hell, most people are on an Aztec diet if they're eating foods the Aztec ate. I mean, let's see, tomatoes, wow, they're Aztec foods. A lot of people eat tomatoes. Peppers, bell peppers and chili peppers, they're Aztec foods. A lot of people eat them. Corn is an Aztec food. A whole hell of a lot of people eat corn. That's the center of the modern diet. Modern junk food diet, that is. So my point is this. I wholeheartedly encourage people to explore an indigenous American diet that is based on corn, squash, beans, and potatoes. And then added to that, you would put in your berries and your tomatoes and your avocados and your other foods that add the antioxidants and the flavors and things of that nature. That's a true pre-Columbian diet, although you don't have to stick with a pre-Columbian diet. The problem with these things, the best diet is, as I've noted, a Seventh-day Adventist diet. The problem with these fad diets is what happens is they get people focusing on superfoods and not focusing on foods. You need food that is healthy and won't make you gain weight or things of this nature. And the other thing is it avoids the need for the other lifestyle factors that are handled in the Seventh-day Adventist lifestyle. Another reason that the Aztecs were in such excellent shape is they were Neolithic people. They were Neolithic agrarian people, basically, that did everything with their bare muscle, their bare hands and brute strength, okay? So they were very healthy, they didn't have cars, and they did a lot of labor-intensive things, including going to battle and things of this nature. It's very interesting, though. He doesn't seem to know or understand the nature of the pre-Columbian civilization, or even the diet. I mean, if you're going to sprinkle chia on things and you say it's Aztec, go for it. But it's dishonest and it's a fad diet and it's not going to work for many people. It's healthier than the regular junk food American diet, but also what people don't understand, if you take the regular diet, the regular U.S. diet, the USDA diet, it's not that unhealthy. In fact, if you cut the top off, like Dr. McDougall says, you're left with the what he calls the McDougall trapezoid. When you cut the meat and the dairy and the junk off, you're left with the McDougall trapezoid, which is grains, fruits, and vegetables. That's really all you need. And I'm going to leave links to Dr. McDougall's website, nutritionfacts.org, and this wackadoodle that made this Aztec diet, his book. And I'm also going to leave links to the Seventh-day Adventist bookstore so people can look into the Adventist lifestyle and things of that nature. But I just thought I'd make this because I was, searching for something on the Aztec, on their diet, because as I said, diet is extremely important into how genes are expressed and to how the culture comes about and how the culture is expressed over long periods of time. But it's a biological means of, basically, we are what we eat. That is the truth. As Darwin expressed with the finches, how the finches' beaks changed shape as they went after different food through natural selection, we now know actually food does directly influence the expression of genes. And that's what we need to. Now, unfortunately, I used a bad example there. Darwin's finches, that was through natural selection. Their beaks changed due to natural selection. But we do know that food expresses the way genes are expressed. That's why you can turn off and on inflammatory signals and things of that nature. And that's all I wanted to say. I would not waste my time buying this Aztec diet book. If you want to learn about an Aztec diet, learn about it from the Aztecs and research the archaeological and anthropological evidence.